Without a hitch, man. There it was.
Well, it played the 30-second countdown twice, though. Did you notice that?
It it did, but the first time we weren't actually live.
Oh, okay. Well, there you have it then. So
Yeah.
so it's all good.
Nobody would have known a thing if you would have just
Damn
let it go.
it! Oh, well, it is Friday podcast. So, and sometimes we're pretty bad about this because we just start chatting. But welcome to the Creative Real Estate Mastery Podcast, powered by Sub2 Empire, the gentleman here at Sub2 Empire. So, how are you doing this fine Friday, Mr. Coffman?
I'm awesome. You've already gotten to listen to my complaint for the day, which was not. It was really just my own fault. I took a tumble, not really a tumble, but my workout this morning. I tripped over. I was doing box jumps, and man, just the tip of my big toe hit that box and just sent my shin down the very top corner of that box and just tore a bunch of skin off of it. And like I told you earlier, I'm really embarrassed by it, but I got woozy. I don't do trauma. I don't do trauma. And I told those people, I was like, you guys better hope none of you get hurt in here because I am the first one out the door. I can't do trauma at all. And
this from the former Marine, by the way, right?
And paramedic, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't do it anymore, man. Can't do it. So anyway, how are you? How's it going?
It's going all right, man. It's been it is hard for me to wrap my head around. It's mid-July 2025. I think we mentioned this even last week. Where in the hell has 2025 gone? And we've been busy. We're doing a lot of deals. We've been doing we've been working on something, which you see the grin on my face. We're going to announce today, right? So what's the topic for today's podcast?
Well, today we are going to talk about everyone hears about private money and actually there's tons of gurus out there that teach how to raise private money, all that stuff, which we're not going to be talking about how to raise it, but we're going to actually talk about how you can incorporate private money into your, not just your, just your regular kind of run-of-the-mill, off-the-shelf, wholesale deals or out there just purchasing a standard purchase. We're going to actually talk about how to incorporate it in with your creative deals as well, and which is, you're kind of alluding to what we're going to announce, what we're going to talk about today a little bit. Now, we're going to do that on the tail end of this, but yeah, we're going to show you guys how you might be able to work with us on your creative deals and use private money.
That's right. I've been looking forward to this all year, by the way. We've been working on this for a while.
Yeah.
And so I've been looking forward to this. That's why you see the smile.
Man, and I'll tell you what.
Right in my wheelhouse. You know what I mean? My obsessive compulsive logical math reasoning wheelhouse.
Well, I'm glad one of us has that trait because I look at these email chains going back and forth, and I am totally lost. I have no. There's one email chain. I think you said this morning, the last update, 72. How are you can't find anything in that chain of emails. I mean, but I did learn a trick, and that trick is I can take since we're using workspaces, we're using Gmail. I can actually have Gemini search through all of those emails and summarize everything that's in those emails. Now, unfortunately, and actually Gemini will actually put not timestamps, but it'll actually put links in there as well. So if there's any links that are embedded in those emails that you might be looking for. But yeah, that's a recent development in my world is, and really just out of necessity because I don't have my brain does not work that way. I don't know how you guys do it, but the closer my email inbox is to zero, the better I operate. I just can't. I get so lost in those things.
I have a sorting system for the emails and all stuff, but I got to tell you, brother, this 72 back and forth, and we start. So the big announcement's coming, but there was a lot of back work. And so the 72 chain email was with all this back work back and forth, man. I mean, even I was like, okay, this is a little too much. So
yeah, it was painful. I mean, the whole process has been, like you said, when did we start this? In January? Something like that?
We started seriously with the organization and structure and what we were wanting to do. Yeah. I mean, yeah, pretty much January. We had talked about it before that, even going back last year about there. And then the motto for the motto for 2025 is we need to level up. This was our level up. And so, yeah, it's been nice. And, we do things that people maybe don't know us, or people that know me, like, we try to do things right. In other words, when we launch or get something in place, we like to make sure that it's right and ready to go. So that's why it took so long.
Yep. Yes, sir. So anyway, stay tuned. We're going to talk about that here in just a little bit, but let's jump into this thing. I guess we just ask, kind of the basic, start with the basics, really. And the most basic question is, why private money?
Yeah. Or maybe even a step back, like, what is private money, and why do you want that to accelerate your real estate investing, right? So we start start with the basics, and then we'll build all the way up to the announcement.
Right. Well, you have a few different types of money, and we're talking about borrowed money.
Yes.
And so you have a few different types. You have, or maybe even non-borrowed money. Maybe you have your own. Maybe you have your own capital. Maybe you have an IRA, or self-directed IRA, or self-directed 401k or something like that. Maybe you just have it in savings, whatever. You can certainly use your own cash. I wouldn't advise it. I don't like people using their own cash. I've done it before, and especially in the beginning when you see that bank account and you're like, oh man, I got a pretty good chunk of cash sitting there. So I'll just go out and I'll put that cash into some properties, and next thing you know, that cash starts dwindling down, and you start biting your fingernails, like, oh my gosh, I'm cash poor. Next thing you know, that's what you know next is you're cash poor. And it happens to the best of us. It happens to a lot of people when they're in this business. It happened to me for sure.
Yep.
So
property. So what you're saying is property rich, cash poor.
That's right.
Everything is tied up in the properties, right? With all kinds of payments, right? Because the bills keep coming off the properties, kind of like kids, right? The bills and expenses always keep coming in.
Yep.
But now your cash is gone because it's sitting in equity in the property that you can't access right away.
Yeah, and just by the way, what I really the model that I really like, I like to have, or that actually we've kind of adopted this now is we don't put our cash into our own properties. We actually lend that cash out to other people, so it can be earning interest, and then we borrow also. We lend on this side and we borrow on this side. So it kind of our lending is protected. It grows at a little bit better rate than what our borrow side does, generally speaking. So we're almost always net ahead on net profits when we look at it that way. And on the lending side, it's short term. So your money's not stuffed away in the walls of a rental property somewhere, and you're crossing your fingers just hoping you can do a cash out refi and retrieve it. So anyway, that's what I like to do. I think it's a smart way to manage that. What we're really going to talk about is, you said, first of all, what is private money? Private money, technically speaking, for example, you were a private lender to me. Right. You were someone, I think this was 2018 or something like that when we met. And
7-8 years ago. Yeah.
Right. And by the way, do you remember? I remember this. I'm quizzing you. Do you remember how that whole situation came to be? How did we meet, and How did you hear of me, and how did we come in contact with one another?
I was going at that time. I was going to a lot of RIA meetings, so I'm pretty sure I ran across you and or your information from a RIA, and I just happened to contact. I was trying to get some more real estate investing going and to meet other investors, and I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure like I just contacted you out of the blue, didn't I?
You're wrong.
Oh, totally wrong. Damn the bad luck.
No, how it was. So I had this. I had this massive list. I actually, you may have actually gotten some mail from me. So this is when I was, I'd gotten into the creative side of things. I started buying subject to deals, and then I remember I told you I got into wholesaling.
Yes.
And I bought a list, a huge list, somewhere around 7,000 different investors were on this list. And, that was mainly just looking for buyers at the time. And you happened to be on that list, apparently. Well, I decided like, okay, well, I've got to do something. I've got to make a jump here. And so what I ended up doing was I created an email campaign using my buyers list to search for lenders. So I just kind of converted that buyers list into a lenders list, and you actually responded, and that's how we ended up. I think we went to Indian. We met at an Indian restaurant and had some good food and discussion. And I don't know that leaving that day, if I knew whether or not you were an actual lender, but the first deal that came up where I needed your services, I called you.
It happened. That's right.
Yep.
But I'm also pretty sure. Yeah, I think you're right. I remember seeing. So I knew your name from the messages you had sent me, but I'm pretty positive I had seen and or heard of you before, or else I wouldn't have agreed to the meeting. In other words, I had seen you other places before too. So yeah.
Okay. Maybe from other deals. Maybe I was sending you other deals. So I was doing quite a bit of volume back then. All right. So anyway, back to the subject at hand here. I keep getting sidetracked.
Oh, how private money helps you with your deal, right?
What's that? Say that again.
How private money helps you with your deal? Like why you want to use private money?
Are you asking me personally? Or are you saying?
Oh, yes, that's what we were getting to. Right?
Well, on this particular one, and this is actually. So I have you to thank for this whole model that we've kind of developed on. And I think you said we've done 30 loans over the last year, something like that.
32, I think, over the last 24 to 30 months, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So not an incredibly high volume of lending, but it's a very niche specific type of lending that we really like to do. And that is, of course we like subject to deals, and we know the inner workings of the subject to deals. And so we actually lend, we will actually lend in second position. A lot of lenders won't even they won't even consider that. But if we underwrite the deal and it looks like a good deal, something where the capital will be protected, if the deal can pay for itself and pay for the second position loan, then we will absolutely do it. So, but on the one that you're talking about, that was the house that we tore. We had to replace these big. We were rehabbing this house. We had to replace these big giant windows, and we actually they weren't big windows. They were faux doors. The old faux doors. They had like just a kind of a small window in the middle of it. Anyway, we pulled those out. We were going to replace them with full length picture windows on this jet out on the back of this house. And when we did, we found a bunch of termites. And I was like, well, that wasn't in the budget. So that was like an extra $15,000 repair item. And that's when I was like, okay, well, I can't go back and ask. I can't go back and ask. I could have covered it, but I was, I'm not going to get into the whole story, but I was paying 2 crews at the time. It was kind of in a startup situation. Not a lot of capital to really not a lot of dispensable capital. I mean, disposable capital. So anyway, that's when I contacted you, and you're like, showed you the deal, and you're like, yeah, let's do it. So, yeah, that was a second position loan, and that's what got that house done.
Get gap funding for the rehab, like
Gap.
rehab gap funding.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, so back to what is private capital. That is purely private capital. When I called you and pitched you this deal, and you lent money to me, that was purely private capital. It's from my point of view, it is the best capital that you can get. It is not even in terms of interest rates. I mean, I think I paid you 15% on that, if I'm not mistaken. But flexibility wise and speed, it was absolutely worth it, 100% worth it. So that's pure private money. Then we have, and these are in order, by the way, from least expensive or most flexible to the most expensive and least flexible. So these are in order. So you have private money. Then you have, then you would have kind of the Kiavis of the world. Their funds is what they are. They're funds. They're they're usually pretty flexible. Although I will tell you the one that you just used on this flip.
One that will go nameless.
Never ever again. I will.
It was absurd.
If you guys want to know who that is, yeah,
the underwriting process. And can I just go to an aside there? Mm-hmm. Usually, one of the reasons you want to go with private lending is because the underwriting is not nearly as egregious. Like you don't have to give them the blood sample, the DNA profile, the urine sample, and all that like you do for the traditional lenders. But we pretty much had to for this.
This was worse. This is way worse.
And it was worse. And I had already done business with these people a few years ago, and the process was totally different. Like I think they're growing a little too fast for their own good, and
just I made some mistakes. I'm sure.
I don't say this to brag too, but my credit score is 840, and I had to go through all of that bullshit to get a private money loan. Never ever in my life have I had to do that, even remotely close to that. It was absurd.
And when it didn't stop there, the draws that we're trying to take, which anyway, let's not go down that road. Let's get back on track. But if you guys
want to know who that was, usually easy to obtain and much more flexible was the point too. But there are exceptions, right? So the little segue was there are exceptions. So you gotta.
But they were a fund. That was a fund, and so a fund. A lot of these folks, you'll see they'll have different products. They'll have a DSCR product. They'll have they have a private lending fund for short-term flips. Some of them even have like a conventional. Well, all the DSCR products are generally 30-year amortizations, but they throw in a bunch of fees and everything. It usually works itself out to be a pretty good product. But to me, they are the second on the list as far as desirables of who to borrow from. The third on the list is going to be just your regular old credit unions or local lending institutions. The problem with them is they don't have the luxury of speed. They generally have really good rates. Good terms and everything. But the problem is, in this business, you really got to strike when the iron's hot. If you've got a motivated seller and you need to close something in 2 weeks, it's going to be very, very hard to do. Now you can get lines of credit with those folks that you can draw on at any time. And that's probably the preferred way to do it. But yeah, I mean, they're just, and they're going to have good terms. It's just, you can't do it on a one-for-one basis. Like if you went out and found a house from a motivated seller and you wanted to, go to the bank and say, hey, I need $150,000 in 2 weeks. And they're just going to laugh at you. You're not going to be able to get it done. And then finally, in the world of I'm just kind of encapsulating this into private money. You have hard money, which unfortunately, too many people make this their default lending vehicle. Hard money is, number one, it's generally very easy to get hard money. Although I've been through some. Yeah.
Well, right, because it's based on the quality of the deal, not necessarily the quality of the borrower.
Yeah, and usually it's local, which those guys are. I've always said it's the best thing that I ever got out of borrowing hard money was getting to know some of the hard money lenders, because they're very knowledgeable about the areas that they will lend in. And so, even if I'm not looking to borrow from one of them, I might call one of them up and say, hey, what do you think about this area?
Yeah.
What would you lend on this? Would this be worth, what I'm about to pay for this thing? And they're invaluable when it comes to that. But it is 100% the most expensive money that you can possibly borrow. And the timelines are insane. Usually it's a 6-month loan. And it's just going to be, they trade the ease of, I've borrowed money from people by just talking to them on the phone. They've never even seen the property. We have one guy here in particular. He's a bit of a shark, but you can get your deal funded if you absolutely need it funded. So that's kind of the order of things. I think those are the different types of quote private money that and in that order. Again, I just want to reiterate about hard money. Hard money is it is your last resort. It should be your last resort, and unfortunately, most people look at it as their first.
Yeah.
They just think, well, this will be easy. In fact, one of my marketing channels for motivated sellers is, guess who? Hard money lenders.
Mm-hmm.
Because these people will, some of these borrowers will go out and get themselves in trouble.
Yep.
And can't make the monthly payments on it, or maybe they've not borrowed enough and they can't finish the project. So little tip there. Little tip. Yep.
Pro tip.
Yep.
Target hard
money lenders are great to know because they can bring you deals.
Yep.
They sure can.
And can I just clarify something for a second? Hard money, by definition, is private money, but it's such a unique subset. We often call it different. That's why we term it different, hard money, because it usually has very specific terms around it, like much higher interest rates, like 15 to 18. Even I've seen them even 21% before.
Yeah, and there's no usury laws on hard money either. So they don't have to comply with any kind of state usury regulations. So interesting little tidbit.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we kind of went through. The next question was going to be why private money, but I think we can just kind of summarize this into what its benefits are, and that's going to be speed, flexibility, and since they're generally local, since most hard money lenders are local, you can build a relationship with those folks. I gave you an example of, like I said, some of the times I don't even borrow money from some of these folks, but I'll call them up and ask them their opinion about about a particular property. So go ahead.
Let's talk a little bit about it. Like you said, we do both sides of it, right? And we're gonna have the big announcement about the one side here in a minute, but let's talk about it from our borrower side of things for a minute. So we've been doing this a long time, right? Like 20 plus years for me. I've been, I have my foot in the real estate investing world, and this is just me because I'm kind of obsessive compulsive. You probably, like most of people, have probably picked up on that by now. Like when I go to ask, like even when in the example you gave, when we met and talked about it, and you called me up and said, hey, I need some gap rehab funding on this too. It's just like, you had information ready for me. right? Because I wanted to know about the deal. Like, okay, I'm going to be in second position on this particular in this particular exam. I'm going to be in second position. Like, in a worst case scenario, am I going to get paid? Like, is there enough equity in this property? Like, you had that information for me. I didn't have to ask and beg it and right and glean it out. Like, you had the information. So from a borrower side, if you're going to these private money lenders and even the hard money, like, they want to know the deal. Like, what's the deal? What's the equity in the property? What are the comps? What are the ARV? Like, have the information ready. Like, pro tip, have the information ready. Like, you need to know your numbers before you pitch the numbers to someone who you want to lend $150,000 to, right? Yeah. So when we're making that underwriting decision, we want to know the quality of the deal. Then we can get to know you, right? That's number one for private money and hard money especially. And then we're going to get to know you. Like, okay, how are you as an investor? How are you, because you're going to need to personally guarantee that for me, like, because I'm going to get paid back somehow, right? And so, right, we can go into that, but have some of that information ready. Don't go in there like just, beginners are beginners, right? But don't act like a beginner. try to hide it by knowing your numbers, right? Like, if you know your deal, then that'll take you a long way.
Yeah, at that time, I was relatively new to the rehabbing side of things. I'd done some wholesaling and stuff like that, and some wholetailing, and I also had a few rental properties. But I used a tool. I used Rehab Valuator. It's Daniel. I forgot how to say his last name, but I used Rehab Valuator, and it actually, and there's tons of these tools out there, but it actually just laid out. Like, I just plugged in the numbers, I took some pictures, and it laid out a nice, neat little package. It was like almost like a credibility kit, but it's for a single family or for a single property. So something like that can really help you out in the long run as well. If you can show a little bit of professionalism, a little bit of pride in what you're doing, that really goes a long way, I think, with a lot of lenders. So let's talk about, now that we understand what private money is, certain scenarios where you would use it, let's talk about how we can apply this to the creative side. And this isn't on our list of talking points or anything like that, but really this model has been a total game changer, I think, for a lot of our students, a lot of our partners. And I still contend that this model of buying properties, particularly subject to or seller finance, turning around and seller financing those properties out, is by far, it's the fastest way to build a portfolio, especially for those folks who want to get out of a W-2 but it is absolutely the fastest way to do it. You can do it through rentals, but I've said
twice as many.
Yeah,
you really need twice as many rentals.
You really do. Yep, you really do. If we're talking purely cash flow, you're not going to get the tax benefits, obviously, that you would with rentals. There's a whole different set of rules when it comes to rentals. There's greater tax benefits. But if we're talking pure cash flow that can replace your income, the seller finance model is by far the best way to go, 100%. And so this is how we incorporate private money into this structure is really interesting. So I'm just going to spill the beans on it if you're cool with that.
Let's do it. Yeah. Well, we've got a property right now that we're trying to do this on. It's like the perfect example. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So this we just bought a new build. I don't know, it's about 40 minutes from me. It's probably an hour and 40 minutes from you, unfortunately.
It's actually not bad. About an hour. Yeah.
So we just bought this new build. We got it on seller financing. We got a really good deal. I mean, as far as interest rate and the term of the loan on the seller finance deal. But we're going to turn around and we're going to seller finance that. Yep. That required us to put down a down payment with our seller, and that was a 6% down payment. 6%. It's to the tune of $24,000, something like that.
18 for the down payment.
18 for the down payment, yeah, and we paid a wholesaler. We paid a wholesale fee for that. So we're all in cash, cash wise around $24,000.
Yep.
The value on this property, I got to shut that off. I got to mute you. But the value on this property, I'm just going to give you the numbers. We picked it up for 311. The value on it is 335 to 340. All right. So, I mean, there's a little bit, there's enough safety in those numbers that if we had to sell it, if we had to actually put it on the market and sell it outright, we'd be okay. But we want to seller finance. We want to hold on to this thing, but we need to be made whole. So that 24,000 that we have out in this deal, we are actually we're selling this property now for 339, 340. Mm-hmm. We're requiring a 10% down payment. That is not only going to make us whole, that will also slide a little cash in our pocket or maybe in reserves. And so this whole model, and that's done with private money.
All of it's private money. Yep.
Right. So what I'm saying is, for those of you out there that are going to watch this, I have never, not one single time, have I ever had a private lender turn this deal down. If you approach a private lender and you say, "Hey, I've got something I'd like to propose. I'm buying these properties subject to, I'm turning around, I'm seller financing them. I need a little bit of cash for maybe arrears on a mortgage, maybe you've got to move a seller out, whatever expense you got to fix up the property a little bit. Maybe you have to make a down payment if it's a seller finance deal. I need, quote, gap funding to fulfill. That's a need that I have, that I'm looking for lenders to help fund. So you say, okay, I need this money, and what I will do for you is, not only will I make you whole when I receive that down payment, I'll make you whole, or very, very close to it. I'm actually going to make you an equity partner in this deal as well. Whatever percentage that might be. I've done up to a 33 1/3% equity partner, if the deal's good enough. So it's a really, really, it's a no-brainer for a private lender. So did I make that clear enough? Does everybody, you think?
So just to summarize that too. So we've got, in our case, we had a straight direct solar finance as the private money. But let's say this is a subject to deal. So the subject to deal is in arrears. You need to close we need to close the closing costs, all that stuff too. So let's just say it's $25K. So you need $25,000. So that's the gap that you need, and you don't want to put it out of your own pocket. So you bring in your private lender, a private lender, to gap fund that $25,000, like us. When I mentioned that was like our niche, like gap funding that. And then you bring in the end buyer, which you get collected down payment from, pays you back the $25,000 and hopefully some extra, pays back your private investor. But as the bonus for gap funding for you going into second position, they stay in the deal in an equity position, 25%, 33%, whatever the number is.
So let me ask you a question then. If my math is correct, how much out of your pocket do you have into that deal?
Mine, let's see, carry the 1, 0.
I was going to say, carry the 1. You have $0 out of your pocket. So
rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just love that model. I think it's, you're giving up, potentially a little bit of your cash flow. Still, by the way, not as much cash flow. You're not giving up as much as you would with a rental. With a rental, you're looking at a minimum of 40%, whether that's paying for debt service, utilities, repairs, all that. You're giving up at least 40% of your, on average, 40%. That's what I've calculated out to come out to.
Yeah. 35 to 40%.
Income that comes off of that is going right back into that property. That's not necessarily the case with seller finance. So
it's like working your W-2 job, and 40 cents of the dollar goes to pay ridiculous friggin' taxes. Right. Kind of the same thing.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. let's see if we can piece this back together somehow. We kind of got off on a little tangent.
So one of the models that we use in Step 2 Empire, the coaching, is that model to use private investor funding to do the deals, whether it's direct seller financing, whether it's gap funding, whatever it is, to acquire the property, you turn around and resell it, and you make the investor. And maybe you don't even keep the investor. You said you keep them in as an equity partner. Maybe you don't even do that. Maybe you just sweeten up their return in a very short time period, 3 to 6 months, whatever that is, and their return is so good. It's just like, yeah, you just pay me back.
It's an infinite return. It's an infinite return. Yeah,
totally fine. Which is what we've done several times. Because we just keep wanting to deploy the money. So it's all good. Well, so are we okay, so we're now ready for the big announcement. Are we ready for the big announcement?
Sure, let's do it.
Are you ready? So we have, keeping in mind our level up for this. So we're going to take that gap funding and everything, and we leveled up. We have now created our own real estate investment fund. Would you like that? So it is the Creative Real Estate Capital Fund is now up, right? It's up and running. It has been duly filed with the SEC. We are a 506C real estate investment fund, duly filed.
Which, by the way, gives us the ability to actually talk about this on this podcast. So
that is correct.
Different codes for different with the SEC rather, based upon a whole bunch of criteria. It's what it is. It's in that 72 chain email.
Yes, it is. That's the 72 with all the documents and everything too. But we're really excited. We are going to start, right? So a real estate investment fund, just go back, has two sides of it. It has, we want to solicit investors to place money into the fund, and they get a return on that. And then we need the other side. We need the borrowers, the real estate investors, to do their fix and flip properties, their gap funding that we just talked about, all that stuff. That's going to be our focus for the fund.
That's right. So, I mean, I don't know if you want to go over some of the bullet points of the fund or how you want to do that on the podcast, whether you want to do that on the podcast or not, I don't know. But I think we maybe at the very least, we put it out there to the universe that we are looking for both sides of the transaction at this point. We are the fund managers at this point.
Yes.
And we're expecting really, really big things. So I don't know what you want to add. Like I said, if you want to go over some of the.
Well, I think in general, let's just talk about what we want to focus on, maybe with this particular fund. And I'll just say, this is a perfect time to say too, the details and the website for the fund and all that stuff too, it's coming in a few days. So the fund, right, is duly filed and up and operational from the standpoint too. But we're going to roll out all these other details hopefully in the next week. But I think for the fund itself, like, we've been real estate investors for a long time, right? And we understand the creative side of it, right? We're creative deal experts. Like, I used to not call myself an expert in anything, but I think now that we can confidently call ourselves experts after the hundreds of deals we've done over the years and all of that. And so we want to take our knowledge from being on both sides, right? Because we've been private lenders too. So we're going to take our private lending knowledge and level it up. And then we're also going to take our knowledge about what it feels like to be a borrower and put that together, right, for our fund. And we hope to have something easily accessible for both sides. The investor can understand their return because we're buying quality properties, like we're putting the money into quality properties because we vet the borrowers on this side in the deals because we've been doing it for years. So we know a good deal when we see one, right? So I think that's going to be our goal and our focus is to have quality deals, quality returns, and to have a process that it's easy on both sides, whether you're investing into the fund or whether you're a borrower on the other side, like you're a real estate investor that needs your fix and flip fund it, whatever that looks like, because we've been there and done that, and so we understand the process and hopefully can streamline. Like you said, speed's key. So we're going to do that. Of course, everybody has a process. There's always a process to go through. You still have to be vetted. Like we can't just take your word for it, right? I mean, everybody understands that. And all those details will be coming here in the next few days.
And luckily, we just threw hell with a
right. So we definitely know what we're not going to put a borrower through.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The vetting is it's a necessary. You just have to do it. I mean, you can't, like you said, you can't just take someone's word for it. But we're going to try and make it as easy as possible. In fact, our private placement memorandum, it is available for anyone who wants to take a look at it. Still working on a slide deck, a little pitch deck, but the PPM itself is available for anyone who wants to take a look at it. It'll give you, I mean, literally it's the fund Bible. We have to abide by everything that's in this fund. That's what we've registered with the SEC. And, so if anybody wants to take a look at it, all you have to do is probably Facebook is the best way. I feel terrible about this, but just go out to Facebook, look me up, look up Ken, send us a direct message. You even in this chat, if you
put your comment in, we'll find you.
Yep, put your comment in, throw your name in. We'll find you out there. We'll hunt you down.
Yeah.
And we're ready to rock and roll with this thing.
And then you'll see, for those of us that already follow that, you'll see, follow us on Sub2 Empire. You're going to see a bunch of posts and a bunch of information come out here in the next 7 to 10 days regarding the fund with all the links and everything as soon as we get it all up and running. But this is my fault because I'm very excited. Like I mentioned, this is kind of my wheelhouse thing. So I'm very excited. So I convinced Mr. Coffman to let us roll out and just announce that the fund is there. It's duly filed and operational, and we're going to be soliciting investors, accredited investors, mind you.
Yep. So, Yep. All right. What else did we miss here? Did we miss anything? Let me look at my little list of talking points here. Let's just recap real quick on the on some of the key points of private lending. So, let's talk about approaching a private lender first. And also that's one of the things that a lot of people I think give a whole lot of thought about. Talking to people about private money is one thing. A lot of people just don't even know how to broach the subject. I was this way when I first got involved in borrowing private money. I did not. Oh, and man, I did this presentation to a group of people, and I'm just praying that no one recorded that presentation and it's out there on the internet somewhere, because it was absolutely a disaster. I was not comfortable with borrowing money. I was brought up that way. I had a W-2 for my, for my entire life up to that point. And I just did not know how to approach people about borrowing money from them. It was a really, really uncomfortable thing. And so here's what I found out about that. People will understand it, and it's very hard to do. It's very hard to broach the subject when you're brand new. It's really hard. It maybe not for some people, but for people like me, it was extremely difficult. But when it came to the time when I absolutely needed it, like I was almost desperate to get a deal done, that's when things really started. So I guess I'm saying that was more kind of my learning style on how to talk to people about private money. But for those of you who are not in that situation and you just want to maybe start getting some private lenders in your back pocket, one of the ways that you can do that is by telling other people. That's probably one of the best ways to do it. And up to and including ourselves. Like, if you have some folks out there who are, maybe are running into the same issue, say, hey, talk to Jeff and Ken.
Yep.
They can hook you up now. And also I want to throw this out there as well, since we're talking about lending, or since we're talking about the fund rather. If you do not meet the requirements in the fund, meaning I told you guys that private placement memorandum is our Bible. That's what we have to go by law. If you don't meet some of the criteria in that fund, there's really not a whole lot of leeway. Okay. However, that does not prevent us from actually lending privately to other folks as well.
Yeah, outside of the fund.
I just want to throw that out there. Now this is outside of the fund. Yeah. Now we only do that in certain states. So I mean, that would be that limitation, and we vet every single deal. So but yeah, get out there, start talking to people about borrowing money and becoming private lenders. And I will say this in regards to the fund, the amount of capital that we are reaching out to our folks about is plenty. I mean, it's going to be plenty for what we need to do, and that's going to be a limiting factor for some people if you're out talking to just your regular kind of lender up the street type of guy. They're eventually going to run out of money at some point. So you have to continue to build that network. Folks like us, though, with the fund that we're building, that's generally not going to be an issue. It's going to be those funds will generally be available. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah.
Have you got anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so. I think I'm just excited. Remember, so it's the Creative Real Estate Capital Fund. We're up and running. More details to come, but we are very excited that this is going to be an opportunity. And I think, I don't know, I just feel like we're uniquely positioned because we've done so much on the private money borrowing side, and we've lended quite a bit of money on, as we just mentioned, on the other side, and we're just trying to level it up and put the people first in the middle, our investors and the borrowers, like put them first in the middle, because we know how it is to be on both sides of that. So that's our goal, is to make a fund that is easy and good for both sides.
That's right. All right, guys. I don't have anything else.
But more to come. Stay tuned. Yep. Right. Join us. Well, good God, if you haven't followed us on some kind of social media channel, do that, because there's going to be lots more fun information coming.
Yep. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you here next Friday at 11. Nope. Actually, I am out next week.
But I'll be going solo next Friday. So hopefully we'll do some more fun talk, some more specifics.
Yep. Good deal. All right, guys. Have